Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Student Success Session. We are going to be bringing in a few guests today. Kelly, who's a counselor, Sarah Jane, Accessibility Advisor Lead, and Giselle, a Student Advisor. So please feel free to put your questions into the chat box at any time during the presentation, and we'll answer as many as we can today. So I'll hand it over to our presenters.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Open House. We are very excited to be here to provide some information about the services we have available at Georgian College. My name is Giselle, and I am one of the 9 student success advisors at the college. I want to share with you some of the faces so that you become familiar with some of them. We basically have 6 advisors in Barrie who supports Orangeville and the downtown location. 2 advisors in Orillia who supports Muskoka and the Midland campus, and 1 advisor in Owen Sound who supports the South Georgian Bay. So basically, we are divided in different programs, and we work very close with the academic area, with the program coordinators, the deans, to make sure the students are on track. So when is the first time the student will hear from us? We basically will reach out when the student confirms their seat in the program. We will be sending out emails before classes begin to let them know we are the advisors for your program and how to reach out to us, how you can book an appointment, and the next steps. So we will provide information on upcoming events such as orientation. Sometimes we have also special events for registration and workshops. And throughout the semester, we will assist you with all the important deadlines. We will provide information on study tips and so on. Our main role is basically to support the students with the academic resilience and personal resilience. So what is academic resilience? It's the ability to effectively deal with setbacks, stress, or pressure in the academic setting. So how do we do that? Basically, we encourage students to book an appointment with us at the beginning of the semester, because as the semester progresses, students, they feel overwhelmed with all the assignments, with all the tests and everything that they have throughout the semester. So we help them create a semester planner so that they can have all the deadlines on track. So we help the students understand the academic policies and procedures, and we also help the students to understand their learning style so that we can provide some tips to be successful, such as study tips, how to read a book, and also to prepare for an exam. What is a personal resilience? It's the ability to remain productive and positive when faced with stress, uncertainty, and change. And as some of you have already heard, we have students from all backgrounds, some of them just coming out from high school. We have international students, we have parents with children, and then we have people that are changing their career. So there is a lot of stress that is happening throughout the semester and in their personal lives. So we help the students to reframe those setbacks, and we keep them positive, and we help them just get back on track. And the most important part is that we connect the students with other services and that we help them with goal setting. Some of those services, at least for the academic area, some of them, they require some supports with the writing skills, with the APA, understanding how to do it. So we refer students to the writing center. We also have students in the finance programs and business, math, and we will refer them to the math center for additional support. Those students that are struggling with biology, chemistry, physics, with anatomy, we will refer the students for some tutoring. And also, we understand that it's important to have a sense of community. So we do have students in the upper semester. They are our peer mentors, and they're part of the Georgian College Student Association that will help students connect with the community with all those fun activities, and also they will help students empowered to flourish at Georgian College. Two other very important services that we have is the accessibility services and the wellness initiatives. And I do have the opportunity to have this floor with them, and I will just pass it on to Sarah Jane.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm here to talk briefly about accessibility services at Georgian College. So hopefully we'll be able to answer some of the questions that you have in this very quick session. And I think we have time for Q&A after this. So welcome to accessibility services at Georgian College. We work with students who believe that they may be encountering a learning barrier of some kind. So with that, we understand that each individual comes with a unique set of strengths, but sometimes as well areas of need. When you contact us, what will happen is you're going to be assigned an accessibility advisor who is essentially your case manager, and that person is there to provide information, support, advocacy, and these are all for students who face learning barriers that might be physical, medical, sensory, mental health related, or sometimes a learning barrier related to education. Accessibility advisors support students through the educational process by encouraging independence, self-advocacy, and at the same time, we provide very individualized services and accommodations for students who qualify. With that, we take very seriously the Ontario Human Rights Policy on Accessible Education, and we also take into consideration the Accessibility Act for Ontarians with Disabilities, and that's what really drives our services. So what does an accessibility advisor do? Our primary role is to assist students and help determine what are going to be appropriate accommodations in the post-secondary learning environment. So people often wonder, how do we make that assessment? We work with students expressed and experienced disability, as well as any documentation the student can provide or disclosed functional limitations. An accessibility advisor will help the student assess the appropriate accommodations, and then they will provide a letter of accommodation to the student and the faculty that they're working with via email. So what's really important is at the post-secondary level, accessibility advisors also work with the faculty. We want to ensure that the accommodations that we're offering don't interfere with the core learning outcomes of a program, and that students with accommodations achieve all the learning outcomes that their peers achieve as well. So other areas that your accessibility advisor might also recommend or help you connect with are things like adaptive technology. Often we meet with students who have never used adaptive technology in the past, and we have adaptive technologists on staff as well who are there to help assess your needs and train you to use adaptive technology in the post-secondary environment. We also will connect students with assessment services. So if they require a medical or psychological assessment, we can help students access that as well. If needed, we will connect you with cooperative education and career services, tutoring services. We help students access related bursaries and funding that they might qualify for. And as well, often we work in partnership with our counseling services so that students can get any mental health support that they need as well throughout their studies. And sometimes there's even more things that we're going to recommend based on an individual needs. We work with agencies in the community as well. And so this was a really general overview of some of our services, but I can't emphasize enough that our accessibility services are highly individualized. And so with that, we want to welcome individuals who might have more questions about our services to join us for a further information session that's taking place over the next week. So we're having 3 sessions. One is being offered on November 19th. That's this Thursday at 5 p.m. November 21st at 9 a.m. So next Saturday at 9 a.m. and another one next Saturday at 11 a.m. where you can log on. The session will be about 45 minutes long, and we're going to get a little bit more in depth into how our services work for students. So if you are interested in accessing some of those further information sessions, I want to invite you to contact our customer service. Our customer service opens Monday at 8:30. Give them a call at the number on this slide, and we will help send you those links. And you'll also get a flyer with a live clickable link as well. So we hope to see more people at that session, and we can answer a few more individualized questions at that point in time. But right now I'm going to pass it over to Kelly, who is going to talk a little bit about our counseling services.
So hi, everybody. My name is Kelly Woods, and I'm one of 9 mental health counselors here at Georgian College. Our services help students with anything personal or mental health related that you might experience while you're at college. So some of the examples of things we assist students with are related to anxiety, depression, challenges with addiction, family and relationship help, your transition to college. We also support students in crisis and emergency type of situations. Basically, counselors help with anything challenging or personal that you might experience while you're a college student, or might be from your past that you would like to work through with a counselor. Our services are free. They are confidential. Offer drop-in or booked appointments, and we're available from 8:30 in the morning until 7 p.m. at night most days. Our drop-in services are really phenomenal because if a student's experiencing a crisis or an emergency, we can assist that student the same day. So oftentimes with drop-in support, students are, we can offer assistance within 15 minutes to half an hour when a student needs that type of help. How you contact us is through either email or our 1-877 number, which is listed on the PowerPoint there. And we operate until 7 p.m. at night. So now I think we're ready to open up the discussion to some questions. Yeah.
You're on mute, Jenny.
You're muted.
Oh, of course, that always, someone's got to do it, right? So there we go. Sorry about that, guys. So yes, so as Kelly mentioned, we are going to be moving into our Q&A session now. Thank you so much to all of you for your great presentations today. That was fantastic. So we've got lots of questions coming in. There's a question here from Brigitte who's asking, if a student has an individual learning plan in high school, will this support carry over into college? For example, a quiet exam room or extra time to complete tests, etc.
I'm going to say chances are yes. One thing I really like to differentiate with parents and students incoming from high school is that your IEP does not automatically arrive at Georgian College. In order for you to access accommodations at Georgian College, you will need to make an appointment with an accessibility advisor and get that process started. We'll work with you to help determine what are going to be appropriate accommodations in the post-secondary sector. But at the same time, yes, we have access to additional time for tests, a separate place to take exams, quieter space, things like that. And we have a lot of other accommodations that we can offer for students. But really the first step is to have that individualized appointment with an accessibility advisor. Bring your IEP to that appointment and any other supporting documentation you think would be helpful, and we will start from there.
Fantastic. And sort of leading off of that, someone's asking, how do you get assigned to an accessibility resource? So would that be part of that sort of process?
Yeah, the same. You contact our customer service. So the number that I put up for our further information session, where we're going to walk through how to do that, you can contact that number. Customer service will set you up with an initial appointment with an accessibility advisor. And depending upon when you're coming to Georgian, or you're considering coming to Georgian, we suggest that you do that anywhere from 3 to 6 months prior to attending, and to bring that documentation along and get the process started with an accessibility advisor.
Perfect. Yeah, and somebody who actually just asked how long does that process take? So you mentioned, was it 3 to 6 months?
Well, it's not that it takes 3 to 6 months to get accommodations started, but we recommend to students that as soon as you have that acceptance with Georgian, or even we understand that some students want to do it before they accept. They want to see what our services are like. We welcome students at any time in the process. But because we do have very high volume times at the beginning of the semester, we suggest that students get connected early, especially too because there might be times when we recommend further assessments, which can actually take quite a bit of time. You might need to source some additional documentation for your accessibility advisor, but also too, we just don't want you having to wait at the beginning of the semester. We want to ensure that your accommodations are set up right away. So 3 to 6 months before you attend, you're welcome to join, or you're welcome to call customer service and meet an accessibility advisor and get that process started.
Perfect. And so likewise, someone is asking if you currently have mental health counseling in high school, will that be able to be carried over to college?
So I'll answer that one. Yes, absolutely. And so the service would work very similar to accessibility services, where you would call into our customer service support or send an email, and our customer service would book you in an appointment with a counselor to get started. So yes, absolutely.
Perfect. And maybe we can reiterate as well. We have another question from someone who's asking, is there only one counselor? Or Kelly, are you the only counselor here at Georgian?
No. So we actually have 9 mental health counselors at Georgian College across our 7 campuses. So we have a lot of counseling support available for students. And like I said, with our drop-in support, students aren't waiting weeks and weeks and weeks to see a counselor. Oftentimes, a student might start the process with a drop-in appointment because that's all that we have available, and then get booked in longer appointments with a counselor afterwards. So yeah, at some colleges you're waiting 3 weeks for an appointment with counseling, and at Georgian, because we have that drop-in service, that's not the case. So yeah, we've got lots of counseling support.
Wonderful. And we have another question here, just wondering about whether these services are free, and they do specifically mention counseling as well. Maybe you can address that too, Kelly.
Yeah, so yes, so all the services that we're talking about today, so accessibility and counseling and student advising, are free services for students. So there's no extra fees that students pay for the 3 services we're talking about today.
Wonderful. And we have a couple of questions that are a bit specific to student needs here. I'm wondering, Sarah Jane, maybe you can take these ones. So first one would be, what services do you provide for students who have low vision and epilepsy?
Okay, so I can't stress this enough that all of our services with accessibility are highly individualized. For students who have low vision, one of the first things we would do is, we would meet with that student, we would assess their needs on an individual basis. Low vision is very different from students who may be blind, and so we really need to know a little bit more about your individualized situation in order to make the appropriate recommendations. But one key thing that we would likely do in a situation like that would be to engage the involvement of an adaptive technologist who can recommend software and some solutions that could assist you in the remote setting with all of the technology we're using. One thing that's really important too is to maintain contact with our services throughout your experience, so we can know what's working and we can know what also isn't working and can make some adjustments based on that. And for students who might have a seizure disorder, we would take into account what that seizure disorder looks like and how it impacts that student. We would make the appropriate accommodations if sometimes absences are required or rest is required post-seizure. We would make sure the student has an accommodation for that and the faculty are aware. And in the remote setting, we actually have a process where we will inform faculty with your consent as to how you want that situation responded to if they were to see that you were having a seizure on camera or in a live lecture and things like that. And that actually we work in conjunction with our campus safety security services to make sure that we respond appropriately to those situations. So I hope that answers your question. Without all the details, it's really hard to get specific. But yeah, that's sort of the general way we would support a student like that. But I think it sounds like it might be great for you to come to our next info session and get a bit more detailed information about what we provide.
Great. I guess along similar lines, but with other specific areas, we have another question from Belle who's asking about services, what services we have for people with autism and ADHD.
Okay. So in the past, we have run some transition services specifically for students who have a diagnosis on the autism spectrum and for students with ADHD. So that's a little bit more specific. Those transition programs provide students with some skills to prepare in transitioning to post-secondary. And then beyond that, we have our typical accessibility services, which would address the individual needs of someone who has one of those diagnoses and also provides ongoing support throughout the semester. So I can't say enough that it's important to maintain contact with your accessibility advisor. When you meet with accessibility, it's not a one-time appointment. We don't just set up accommodations and then you're off. We often work with students while they transition, sometimes even on a weekly basis, to provide those transitional supports and skills that a student requires while they adjust to college.
Yeah, we are here for you. We've got the supports for you in place. So Giselle, we haven't forgotten about you. I want to throw you a question. So we have a question here. If a student is not passing their courses, what kind of assistance programs do you have in place? How does it work with COVID-19 right now? Are there online help sessions?
Yeah, this is actually a very good question. Thank you. We have a process in place right now that is called the early alert. So we basically work very close with faculty. Faculty will realize, oh, some students are falling behind. We find it that is now with our new online learning, students don't feel as engaged and they used to be, because normally when they go to a classroom, they will be like, oh, my instructor knows that I was late last week, so this week I'm gonna be early. But when it's online, they're like, oh, probably they don't even realize that I'm here. And that's usually not the case. The instructors will know exactly how you're doing, if you are submitting assignments on time, or if you are falling behind a little bit. So we do have this early alert in which the faculty will let us know of the list of students that they have a little concern, so that we can reach out and make sure that they are back on track. Sometimes it's as easy as preparing, giving them some help with time management. Sometimes they just are falling behind because they're like, I click here and everything opens up and it's just more information. And when I click here, I realize I missed a quiz. And it's always about organization skills. So we help them with that at the beginning of the semester, anytime throughout the semester. I find that's one of the best tools that help them keep on track. And from there, it depends. It's almost the same as accessibility, that it depends on the learning style of the student. We will refer them to the services. Sometimes they just need additional support with the writing skills, and sometimes it's just a matter of getting extra help from the tutors.
Okay, awesome. And we are going to be wrapping up in just a minute. I just want to throw in one last question for you, Giselle, about people are wondering when they should make an appointment, when they should connect with advisors, say if they're coming in fall 2021.
Yes, and basically, as long as you confirm your seat, you will have access to most of the services or the platforms that we have. Banner to register for your courses, the student portal. That's where you will go there, and you will see basically a picture that I put at the beginning of the presentation, and you will see who your advisor is. So you can click in there, and then you can just do it through the student portal, or you will find the information on the same website, on the name, the email address, and the phone number, so you can select whichever is better for you. If you choose to just book an appointment, you can just say you want a video call or if you want only a call.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you so much. This session is now coming to an end. Thank you so much to our panelists today and for everyone who joined us. If you still have questions about accessibility services, we are hosting a post-event info session, as Sarah Jane mentioned. That's on November 19 and 21, and we encourage you to attend. So details on all our post-event info sessions will be sent to you via email.